I'd like to speak first. Pastor Mike Swenson here. And have you ever noticed that one of the themes in the early church is that they prayed for each other? Why? Because they understood the reality that God listens to our prayers. And many of them, especially the 12, personally knew and interacted with Jesus. One of the letters that the Apostle Paul wrote was to a group of followers of Christ, and he said this. It's over in Philippians chapter 1, verse 3 to 6, and he says, I thank my God every time I remember you. In all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. He goes on to say in verse 6, he says, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. Not only did Paul say that he prayed for them, but he was filled with joy in the way that they partnered with him and his ministry, and he realized that God had started a great work in them, and that work that God began was going to continue until the return of Christ. And this good work from God was not only going to keep going, but he was going to complete it, or he was going to finish it in their lives. Now, I'm the kind of person that notices construction projects when I'm driving by. It may be that when I drive by a new house project, I like to see what new section of house they're building, or what part or what stage that they are in, and I enjoy that. I also enjoy the projects going by on the highway as well, seeing what they're doing. They get to the dirt work, and once I see them start to finish the dirt work, I'm anticipating the next stage where they go in and set the forms up and put steel down and ready to pour concrete. And but the only thing that seems to bother me is when it looks like they've quit the job. Everything is halted, not going anywhere. And to me, it may seem like the work is standing still. But the reality is it may be the engineers went back to the drawing board to adjust how they build. It could be that they ran into some different kind of soil that they didn't expect, or some rock that would cause them to reinforce that structure in a different manner. See, just because it appears that the project is halted, it doesn't really mean that it is. Work behind the scenes is still going on. It may be that times in your life that when you feel like things have come to a standstill, and yet in the background, behind the scenes, God is putting some other things together. It may be that the Lord is bringing another person on the scene, or he may want to help you by using them to build another skill in your life, or some other thing. Yet God sees the big picture. It's so easy to complain when we don't see things moving in our own time or in our own way. But the reality is that God is still working in your life. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Where you are today really is not likely the finished product. Same for me as well. The work God wants to do through your life and in your life is simply not done yet. You're still here. He still has a plan for you, and there will be a day in our lives, especially for us as human beings, that our work on earth is done. But we're still here, and God still has a plan for us. But until that time, we need to keep moving forward. Don't let setbacks or the lack of personal progress stop you from serving the Lord. Things happen, things slow down, but things can speed back up. And this is another part of the Apostle Paul's message. He was saying to those whom God had started a good work in. There in Philippians chapter 1, verses 9 and 10, he goes on to say these words, and this is my prayer, that your love may abound and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best, and may be pure and blameless for the day of Christ. See, Paul was praying that they wouldn't stop growing, But only this, not only this, but he was praying that these followers would be able to discern what God's will was for their life and discern what was best. Many of us are in this kind of situation today in the months that we have been walking through recently, but we need to be able to recognize that God is saying something to us, that He has a good plan for our lives, and He wants to finish that plan in us. It may look like the construction of our lives has kind of slowed. It may look like it's halted, and don't give up. Don't give up, because God still has a plan for you. Just recognize what God is doing. Recognize what God wants to do in your life today. He has something special for every one of us. We must just open our hearts and allow Him to work in us. God bless you. May you have a wonderful day. Keep trusting Him.